Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is day 14th of 100 machine learning project, and today I have come up with a very important and very interactive project for you guys, and that is the churn prediction project for different organizations. So I hope you like it. So before moving forward, make sure that you have subscribed to my channel, so you are and you have on that notification button so that you know when I'm posting new projects, new videos, or posting some new concepts that you should be aware of when you are learning machine learning and how to implement these projects. So let's get started. So today we will be working on what is the what customer churn prediction model. Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, think of this like being a person or an organization person figuring out which customers might leave the company before they do, before there are a bunch of subscriptions done and you want to figure out like how many subscriptions are being cancelled, which kind of customer is will be, you want to predict that if this person will cancel the subscription easily, or will the person be a loyal customer. So these are very important, the very important keywords or the big words that are used in big companies. So they always hire an analyst to understand like if they are able to predict from where the customer is coming, if the customer becomes a very, back to back customer, to enhance to make sure that they are giving the if he's a loyal customer, they will make sure that the other customer is being taken care of. If not, then they will think like, okay, let's see, let's figure it out. So for that, we will use Python in a Jupyter notebook to make this happen, and I will break it down step by step with analogies to keep it more relatable. So if you are a beginner or leveling up, you can just go through the video and understand how these things are done. So our mission here is to predict if a customer will churn. That's when they cancel their subscription. It's like guessing if your friend will leave the customer will leave the subscription or not. We're using the telco customer churn dataset that is available on Kaggle, and our code is like our recipe for catching those sneaky churners. And there are a lot of spams, like a lot of different emails people use to make sure to get a free trial, and then they just move off. So that is one of the things that most of the organizations deal with. So this is a good way to get into it, and you can also practice your machine learning skills to make sure that you are able to predict it or not. So this is very fancy. I like it. So let's move forward with that. So first, let me share my code so that we can move forward with the code as well as the concepts together. Yeah, so first we are installing the libraries. We are installing Pandas, NumPy, Scikit-learn, Matplotlib, Seaborn, and because we need these libraries for different. I think Pandas. And NumPy is for array as well as to handle the data, like for handling the data we use Pandas. For NumPy we are using like measuring for numerical operations, like handling arrays, mathematical computations. Matplotlib pilot is for creating plots used for and it is also used with Seaborn, which is a very good visualization library. Seaborn is always asked in a lot of interviews also that what Seaborn is and how you can use it, how it can help you visualize your data, and how it can help you in visualizing your projects. Projects progress also, because if you there is one more thing, like you can implement a one algorithm, and you can use the matplotlib to plot the all the clusters or how the data is doing and understand the data. Then you can do feature engineering on that. Then you can see that okay, how the things are now, if the changes that you have made are actually making an impact or not. So this is a very important library, and you should be a little bit familiar with that. And I think in all my videos I am kind of using some of the visualization techniques, or something like Matplotlib or Seaborn. So Seaborn is for enhanced visualizations for heat maps, bar plots. Also, we will see one of the bar plots and are coming in this video as well. We are using train test plate, label encoder, standard scaler, random forest classifier, and a different type of evaluation matrices, that is accuracy, confusion matrix, and classification report. So these are it, and we will move forward towards the that how this pre-processing of this is done. So for this we have already so let's start with this. We have already gathered our gathered our information together. So now we have to the cell. This particular cells perform the core data pre-processing steps to prepare the telecom data set for modelings. So let's break it down. For this particular line, here you can see this is the data set, and this is the data set that I have in the same folder. You can see that it has a lot of variables. I think it's like 7,000 something. Yeah, so we are the loading the data set from here. We are and this data set contains customer data like gender, tenure, churn or not needed for prediction. And pandas read.csv reads the CSV file into a data frame, assuming it's the same directory as a notebook, because it has to be in the same directory. Then otherwise you have to give the path of the file. So if you don't have the CSV in your folder, make sure that you provide the path as well here. So this is one of the beginner mistakes. A lot of people who get started, they think like, I have the CSV, why it is not able to read it? Maybe it's in the different folder, maybe you're not you thought that it should be in different folder and you are not giving the path. So make sure that you give the path as well, so that the pandas can go and find that through the path and convert and can load it into a data frame. Okay, so we will handle the missing values and total charges. We have load the data set, like the converts total charges to numeric, setting non-numeric values to NaN that is not available or not a number. And then this thing replaces NaN values with the with the mean data, with the mean values of the throughout the values that how what we have. So machine learning models requires numeric data without missing value. So we cannot always use not a number. So we have to provide it as a number. So we are filling those NaN with a mean of those informations that we have. And that is being done with the using the pandas to numeric, and errors courses handles non-numeric entries, and file NA imputes missing values with the mean. So this is a very generic technique for the data processing that you use, like how you are able to do that. Then we are dropping the irrelevant stuff, that is we drop customer idea, because it's like a label on a it's like a label that you don't in the prediction. It will not help if you are 1 or 10. If you are going, it matters that what are the features of it will matter, but the customer ID will not contribute in the prediction. So we can drop it. And it is said that if there are some in your data set, if there are some columns, some features that are not relevant for you, make sure you drop it, because at the end every feature you are including is going through computation, and it will make your model, if you're giving it unnecessary stuff, it will get learned to noises also, and it might not be able to predict it very well. So make sure that your data is well processed and prepared before going into it. And then we are using the encoding like binary categorization, like some columns like gender, male, female, or partner, yes or no, like a yes or no questions. We use label encoder to turn them into 0 or 1, like so that they have numerical values, because all the models do not work on the categorical categorical technique. They have to be in like numeric form. So this makes them easy for our models to understand. Then we are going to encoding multi-class categories. See, binary columns are there. Now we are converting them. Now we are doing the multi-class categories. columns like internet service, DSL, fiber optics, number or contracts, 1 year, 2 year, have multiple options. We use PD to get dummies to create separate columns for each options, like sorting ingredients into different bowls. For example, like internet service becomes internet service fiber optics, and internet service no with true or false. So we drop the first category to avoid redundancy and like not needing, and then we are creating two other columns from the same features to make it, make it numerically possible, and to make it more sense for the models so that they can understand it, they can relate, and they can extract the meaning of that content and how it will impact the prediction. Then we are using the churn, we are encoding the target variable, and then we are splitting the features and targets. And this is it. Like you can see that these are the columns like with different IDs and different information, and we can move forward with that. Okay, so now we are, baking the prediction case. The training of the model is started. So now we are ready to, train our model. This cell splits the data and trains our model. We use train test split to divide our data into 80% training, that is 5,634 rows, and 20% testing, that is 1,409. So I was right. It is like it is around 7,000 data sets, data rows or data samples, we can say. And it's like saving some information to better, to make sure that the training is done and then testing is done, to make sure that the model has learned on the training areas. And this is just the training set, and the test size, you can see that it is also here. And according to that, you can also see that we have used the random forest classifier with the random state of 42, so that they have 42 and class weights as balanced. And then we are trying to predict that, are you able to predict for the X test, because we are not training on the testing data. So we will check that for the testing data, for this information the model is able to predict or not. So this is very understanding thing. And now we are using the accuracy printf and the confusion matrix to make sure that is these are the true positives. How it is able to do that? These are the false positives, true false, yeah, true negatives and false negative, yes, sorry, true negatives and false negatives. So this is the precision, recall, F1 score support, that you can see that the recall is 0.90, precision is this, accuracy is 0.80%. So I think that is also good enough, like because 80% accuracy we are getting, but you can see the recall is also like a good amount, like 0.90%. So for just for your information to, okay, how to move forward with that, if there, because we know that there is imbalance of the data set also. So just to make sure that this is being taken, taking the key, understanding the data set, why it is important. So here we are going to understand the data set. What we will do, what we did, we had the data set, we put random forest on it, we trained the data set like throughout the basic procedure, and then we found out, okay, I'm getting 80% accuracy, but can I increase the accuracy? But at the end there might be a multiple of data sets that you might train your model, but you might not get an accuracy that is like good enough for you, good enough for your project. Right now I'm getting a good enough information, but right, there might be a chance that I'm getting like 60%, 50%, 40%. Those times also happen. So you have to understand the data, that how you can change the data so that your model can understand the features very nicely and predict it very well, and how it can help you in increasing your accuracy. So that actually, that is the actual goal, to increase the accuracy so that your model is able to predict whatever you're trying to predict very well. So for that you can use the, we can see the feature importance, that how in the give all the given features, how many features, which features are very important. So here we are trying to find out what makes our prediction so good, and why some of the people or the customers are leaving. So this cells looks like at a feature importance, like calculating importance. That is the rf dot feature importance tell us which features like tenure or monthly charge drive churn predictions. You can see the tenure and total charges, monthly charges, they are like on the top 10 feature importance, that these features are like very good. Gender is not important if you have a partner or not, not that important, but tenure, total charges, monthly charges, payment, electronic check, or which kind of payment is also. So these features are actually important. Can we do something about that? So those are the features that we can use, tell us like which features are important, and on the basis of the features can we do something about those features then and make predictions or make our data set much better. So, and prepare our data set in a better way to make sure that our predictions are going well. So for that we can, for plotting this, we can use a Seaborn bar plot, shows like shows the top 10 features, like and to understand like in 10 to 15 features, because right now there are only 10 features. You can go through the features and understand. In multiple data set there might be like 15 to 20, 20 to 50, 70, 100 of features. So this will help you enhance your understanding regarding the features. And also there is also a correlation matrix that is used for to understand the relation between different features. If there are more, they are more related to each other, then there will be a redundancy, so you can drop that one of the features. If they are more related to the target, then it makes sense. Then if they are not related that much to a target, you can also drop them. So this is how it's like, to understand like how the feature is, how the data is. And if you are able to understand the data, visualize the data, you are going to make a very good model, and it will be able to predict, it will be able to train very well and understand very well. Just make sure that you are not training it on a very, very hypocrite data, so that is like use turn everything and it is like a x and y in information. Don't make that. So make sure that you understand like how many features are there and then how you are making the decision. So we are also I also wanted to give you the JobLab a library, because this is also very important. A lot of people ask him that how you save your model, that okay, you have trained a model and now you want to save the model, and you can save the model there with your trained data and with your trained information, with your trained weights and information and everything, and you can use that data to predict new values. So this is very important, and this is a very asked question in different interviews. So we will save our model using joblib.dump to save the trained model as churn model.pkl, which is a pickle file. It's like freezing your model's weight, so you can use it again later without starting from scratch. So you don't have to train the model again and again. You don't have to make go through data and everything. So you can just train a model, save the file, and you can use this the model, and you can just go ahead and move it. So this is where all the machine learning algorithms comes into picture. So what you can do, you can use this file. You can go to AWS S3, put this PKL file there, and an inference file for your, and you can use the SageMaker to go through the inference file, that how to load this model, and then and you are good to go. You can use it in your app, you can use it in different information, how the churn is done, and that's it. And we can load the model with joblib.load, pick, and predict if they will churn or not. The output says no, meaning the customer is likely to say. It's like serving a slice to one guest and asking if they will come back to the party. Is like, if you are serving some kind of dish and they will come back or not. So this is very important, a very basic and very important technique that is being used in the correct field. So like this is it for now. You have gone through the code, you will you know where to find the code. I post the code on like GitHub. In my repository of 100 projects, I have those link also. So but if you need anything else from my side, more information, more code, more things that you want to understand, if there is a particular concept that you got stuck, even if it is in my video or if it is in another video that you want me to look into and create a video on that, I'm happy to do that as well. And I am working on multiple projects also, so if you have a good idea and you want me to work with you, I'm happy to sit with you and learn and grow with you together. So that we can do also. So just that's it from my side. So just try this code. Make sure you are able to run that. And if you have any issues, you can reach out to me. So that's it for today. Thank you guys, and hopefully I will see you soon for the next video. Bye bye.